Donald Trump once again is getting played by Vladimir Putin. You might remember when I live streamed the interview between Tucker Carlson and Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is a sales guy. This guy is a smooth, calm talker, sit back in his chair, let the translator say, you know, what they need to say, seem methodical. You know, Trump, you're a brilliant man. If it weren't for Biden, I would have never invaded Ukraine. You're so right. Mind you, Putin is trembling in his pants that Ukraine might get their hands on Tomahawk missiles. This is a big deal. Of course, Putin's got to play it down. Let me give you the scoop of what's going on right here, okay? Introducing the Tomahawk Block 4 missile. These are 550-pound fuel tank, 2,800-pound bombs with a range of 1,000 miles. We don't even need half of that to get from the capital of Ukraine to the Kremlin. The Kremlin is at risk if Ukraine gets Tomahawk cruise missiles. Zelensky wants Tomahawks so he can talk to Putin. Complete bullshit as well. Zelensky wants Tomahawks because Zelensky knows these are the weapons that are going to allow Ukraine to go and strike deep inside of Russia. They will first threaten and then they will use the weapons. Right now, they use drones to attack Russian energy infrastructure. But Tomahawks change the script of the war. Putin does not want this. So what a surprise. Zelensky's coming and announces, I'm coming to the White House on Friday. What happens the very day before that Friday? What happens the very day before? Putin calls Trump and spends 2 hours on the phone with him. Because, Trump, you're so right. Everything you're doing is so good, Trump. You're so good. I can't wait to work with you, Trump. 2 hours on the phone manipulating Trump. That we're actually still friends, Trump. Don't be mean to me. It's just hard. And what do we get? We get the following statements. We get from Trump. You know what? We're going to have a high-level meeting of advisors with Putin. And we're going to give them more time, okay? We're going to give them more time. We said we would sanction other countries who import Russian oil. The Indians already said they're going to stop doing it. Now we got to work on the Chinese. But we're not going to sanction the other sides just yet. We're just going to give them some more time. Because we're going to have a meeting, okay? We tried to have a meeting in Alaska. I know that meeting didn't work, but we're going to have another meeting, okay? And then maybe we can get Putin and Zelensky together and it'll all be fine. Maybe we'll meet in Budapest. That's the update, you know, from Trump. Meanwhile, this morning, we hear, literally, you can't make this up, we literally hear this morning, the director of our nuclear energy agency in America tells us, yeah, we're starting to have furloughs at the nuclear energy department in the United States. What the hell? Why? This is the last thing we should be doing is laying people off, even temporarily, at our nuclear weapons agency. We're being told that our Department of War now wants to increase the development of nuclear submarines from like a little over 1 sub per year to like 2.5 to 3 subs per year, which is great. But how are you going to do that if you start laying off people in the nuclear weapons agency? While at the same time, what's China doing? Oh, great. Look at what China's doing. China adds U.S. entities to their unreliable entity list, including D-Drone by Axon, which is basically our ability to fight the mass production of drones by countries like China, which is in cahoots with Russia. And we just keep talking to Putin, it'll be fine. And Trump's gonna take into account what he said and his conversation with Putin when he meets Zelensky on Friday. So maybe we don't need to give Ukraine Tomahawks because Putin's such a nice man. Now, Putin's Kremlin released a statement, and Putin and Trump did talk Tomahawks. And what did Putin say? Putin's hook, line, and sinker manipulating Trump. He says, quote, Tomahawks wouldn't change the battlefield situation. If anything, Donnie T, it would actually just harm not the issues that Russia has with Ukraine, but it would actually hurt the relationship between the United States and Russia, and it would hurt the peace process. And Donald Trump, you want peace, right? Oh yeah. Of course Trump wants peace because that's what he's always talking about. Now he's done a great job so far, knock on wood, we hope he keeps going, in Israel. But that came through having balls in Iran. We don't have balls with Putin. No balls with Putin right now. No, just talk. And Putin is eating our lunch. Trump actually takes the time to talk up economic cooperation with Russia, saying, oh, well, things could be great. We could have strong economies together. We could work together. We could have economic cooperation if we have peace. And all Putin ends up doing is going, yes, you're right, Donnie. We could have such great cooperation. But will China even allow that? Because Russia's economy isn't that big. Russia is basically just a puppet of the Axis. North Korea, Iran in conjunction with mostly China. And so this idea that, don't give Zelensky Tomahawk missiles because it'll hurt the United States and Russia's relationship is fugazi. Complete fugazi. The Russians are shaking in their boots because they don't have the Patriot missile defense systems to take down these Tomahawks as well as we do. Now, Russia does have weapons to take down missiles, so let's be clear. And there are systems like the Patriots that Russia has, but they could be overwhelmed by enough of these Tomahawks. And this is why Russia is afraid. This is why Russia's like, stick Putin on a call, Mr. Salesman on a call with Trump, to not get those missiles sent over. Now, I get it. A lot of people are like, hey, we shouldn't be supporting Ukraine this much anyway. But remember, folks, you can overwhelm Russian defenses with Tomahawk launches. You could actually get some real strategic advantages against Russia by making them tremble, that you could literally strike the Kremlin with these weapons. Now, of course, is there a risk then of escalating situations to World War III? Of course, that's an issue as well. So there's a duality here. And that's probably what Donald Trump is recognizing. That said, Donald Trump gets manipulated by Putin all the time. And it's sad because I'd like to see some of the balls that we saw with Hamas actually start happening with Russia. And it's not happening. Now, some people make the argument that, we shouldn't be fighting this war in Ukraine anyway. Like, this isn't our war to fight. Anybody who says that misunderstands that this is literally the United States fighting Russia. This is not Ukraine versus Russia. This is literally the United States trying to weaken a nuclear power through a proxy war in Ukraine. The Ukrainian lives are being spent to weaken a nuclear power, a country that potentially, half of them probably don't work, but on paper has more nuclear weapons than the United States. It has the most nuclear weapons in the world. Some say slightly more than the U.S. Most American counts say the U.S. has slightly more. Ours probably actually work. But China is like the next distant country is China with number of nuclear weapons, and they have a fraction of the nukes that Russia and the United States have, like maybe 5%. Now they're trying to proliferate. They're manufacturing as many bombs as they can get their hands on because they realize, conflicts with the United States are really inevitable, especially with this Trump trade war, which will keep dragging on probably for the next year, which isn't great, but it'll happen. But anyway, this is a proxy war of America versus Russia to weaken a known a cyber bully and probably supporter of terrorism to some extent as well. The United States striking Russia through the Ukrainian proxy is really no different than the United States directly attacking Iran. It is an attack directly against the Axis. The United States fights Iran with direct attacks. The United States fights Russia through Ukraine. The United States fights China with a trade war. Nobody pays attention to North Korea because they really don't matter. You got, Japan and Taiwan. And honestly, China keeps the reins pretty tight on them. But if you look at it that way, it's like, oh, the United States is really kind of already at war with all three of these. But the fact that Trump gets so manipulated into believing Putin all the time is somewhat surprising to me. You know, what happened to peace through strength? This is peace through, you know, getting walked over by Putin. Oh, wait, it's not peace. It's actually death through getting walked over by you know, Putin here. It's kind of crazy to me. So I think that's quite wild. And it's sad when I see these readouts of these 2-hour phone calls. The day before, supposed to meet with Zelensky to pick up his bombs. It's wild to me. Now, obviously, we can brand that we're not actually at direct war with Russia because it's done through a proxy. We know that. But that's the nature of fighting a proxy. So, anyway, that's my take.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.